Hello, everyone. My name is Yaxi Shen, Senior Product Manager in GE Healthcare. I'm glad to have Dr. Tim Szczykutowicz join me today from the Department of Radiology, University of Wisconsin, for this presentation. Today, we would like to provide an overview on remote protocol management in radiology department. We will cover the following topics in this presentation, starting with who is GE Healthcare, the medical imaging challenges related to protocol management. What is GE Healthcare's solution to help solve the challenges? The case study will be shared related to protocol management experience at the University of Wisconsin, how it enables the personalized healthcare delivery. Lastly, I would like to touch base on the benefits of partnership between AWS and GE Healthcare. As many of you already know, GE Healthcare is a leading global medical technology and digital solutions innovator. We enable clinicians to make faster, more informed decisions through intelligent devices, data analytics, applications, and services supported by GE Madison Intelligence Platform. What is the imaging protocol? Imaging protocol is a set of parameters that prescribe a specific exam and contrast delivery requirement. It is a standardized of the way in which medical images are acquired using various modalities such as CT or MRI. Why is it important to standardize the imaging protocol? Protocol standardization helps ensure the consistency of image quality, increasing the efficiency of scans, and meeting regulatory and compliance requirements. Take a step back. Today, imaging providers are facing triple threat with respect to imaging protocols. This can be summarized in three areas. Firstly, from the environment perspective, inconsistent protocols are often caused by lack of visibility and change management process. Because of this, there are risks to patient safety and patient outcomes due to variabilities in radiation dose and exam quality. Secondly, from the regulations perspective, complying with the wide range of industry, state, and federal accreditation guidelines such as ACR and the Joint Commission can be highly burdensome without an automated tool for establishing consistency and traceability across the enterprise. Lastly, from the economics perspective, with cost pressure, managing and updating protocols can become a significant financial stress. In fact, the study showed that the average cost for managing and optimizing 30 CT protocols is $42,000. Because of the above, protocol management is such a critical mission impacting healthcare quality in the radiology department. But we hear from our customers, protocol management is super challenging. Among all the challenges, perhaps the biggest one is to get one set of standardized protocols everywhere. Today, our customers need to manually update each imaging device using a USB drive, driving to multiple sites, late nights, early mornings, weekends, a lot of less than ideal situations. So we developed a cloud-based imaging protocol manager to help our customers address the pain points in protocol management. With Imaging Protocol Manager, you cannot be everywhere at once, but now your protocols can. To put it in detail, leveraging Imaging Protocol Manager, our customer can now upload the protocols to cloud library from imaging devices such as CT or MR scanner. Create standard set of protocols, including clinical instructions to the technologist. Download the protocols to imaging devices across the organization at one click. monitor protocols on every device, check deviations. Lastly, reset to standards to fix any unwanted changes. So why is protocol management task made easier with Imaging Protocol Manager? Since the application is securely hosted on GE Edison Health Cloud, powered by AWS, user can now access it from anywhere, any browser. The application features and functionalities are enabled by AWS services, such as AWS EC2 provides a secure, scalable compute platform in the cloud. It supports the remote protocol edit capability in Protocol Manager. AWS Cognito provides authentication, authorization, and user management for the application. AWS CloudWatch provides monitoring capabilities of the AWS resources and the application in real time. We use CloudWatch to collect and check relevant metrics, such as resource utilization and application performance. So to recap, as a multimodality cloud-based protocol management solution, Imaging Protocol Manager provides users the access, insight, and governance for imaging device protocols, supported by its key capabilities and workflow outlined here. At GE Healthcare, our mission for Imaging Protocol Manager is to help healthcare providers improve protocol standardization, increase operational efficiency, lower cost, and manage compliance documentation. In turn, assist clinicians to deliver the right exam for each patient effortlessly. So next, I would like to hand over to Dr. Tim Szczykutowicz from University of Wisconsin to share their experience on protocol management and how it enables the personalized healthcare delivery in their institution.
Thanks, Yaxi, for that introduction. Hello, and thank you, Amazon and GE Healthcare, for letting me speak to you all today. I'm Tim Szczykutowicz from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the Department of Radiology. I'm part of a world-class research university hospital. We're actually ranked 8th in the US for funding dollars, ranked nationally as the 17th best hospital in the US. And when it comes to innovation, we rank 7th in the total number of patents per year. But in my clinical role as a medical physicist, I commonly need to program CT scanners spread across our hospital, across Madison, Wisconsin, the city, and in surrounding rural communities. And yet, for all the resources and innovation I have at my fingertips and on campus, I do that protocol dissemination with a bag of USB sticks. I physically drive place to place with those USB sticks, and I waste a lot of time with scheduling with the local sites when I can get on the scanner. Because of that large impediment of time, the threshold for me for making a change is actually pretty high. So we make less changes we'd like to make because of this current situation. With the solution that Yaxi from GE just described, the need to physically go site to site, the need to actually stop that site from scanning patients because I need to get on the scanner to program it, and the need for that site to stop earning any revenue, those needs evaporate. I can sit in my office and manage all of these scanners as shown in this figure. So actually at this point, I'd like to take a few steps backward. For those of you not familiar with radiology and protocols in general, I'd like to spend a little bit of time on an introduction. So here I'm showing 3 different types of images that we produce in radiology. A radiograph on the left, a PET study in the middle, and a volume rendered CTA or CT angiogram on the right. We use different machines actually to acquire each of these, a chest X-ray unit for the radiograph, a PET scanner for the middle image, and a CT scanner for the CTA shown on the right. I'm going to focus today on one of those machines, a CT scanner like I'm showing here. Now these can range in price from a few $100,000 to over $1 million in upfront costs to buy one of these. They all have personnel, service, and consumable costs well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. And running one of these is therefore a major investment for a lot of practices. So here's a picture of me evaluating the performance of one of these scanners, placing a test object inside. I'm showing this picture not to show you how I evaluate CT scanners, but to give you a view that most patients see. They see this part of the scanner. And for a lot of patients, this is what they're going to see in our CT scanner suite. This picture is what you see when you're lying on the couch looking up inside the scanner bore. So to the patient, the scanner is always going to look the same. But for me, a person in the radiology field, I know I need to operate that scanner in vastly different ways to accommodate imaging orders for different patient indications. So for example, I'm going to run my scanner a lot differently for a scan like a kidney stone follow-up versus a stroke workup. So here's actually some examples of that on the left. If you can see that little white arrow, that's actually showing a renal calculi, a kidney stone. And on the right, we have some images from a stroke study. I won't go into all the details, but these two types of indications, they're going to differ in their use of iodine-based contrast agent. They're going to differ in how many scan phases we take. In other words, we inject some agent and then we image at different time points as that agent courses through the body. There's differences in the ionizing and potentially harmful amount of radiation dose that we use to acquire these different types of images for these different indications. The actual number of images that we present to radiologists will be different depending on the indication. So at the end of the day, we have literally hundreds of thousands of settings needed to be programmed across a medium-sized hospital CT scanner fleet to reflect the wide range of indications and patient sizes a hospital needs to image. So before I read this quote, I want to just make a comment. It's kind of like just like a bakery uses hundreds of different recipes to produce all of their baked goods. We need custom protocols that vary with indication and patient-specific attributes like weight and age, and I'll get into that. And when we do that, I think we can realize what I have wrote on this slide here. Personalized healthcare delivery means we set up our imaging equipment specific to the indications we are imaging. All right, I don't intend for you to be able to read everything on this slide. This is a screenshot of the actual protocol cookbook at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We have hundreds of different protocols. Here I've highlighted a protocol from each major grouping of our protocols that some of you, hopefully might be familiar with. Across these different protocols, we have to adjust the scan settings different, whether we're imaging a little newborn pediatric or a large bariatric patient that we sometimes might even have trouble getting inside of our scanner. We're going to modify these protocols different. If your heart rate is below 40 or over 100, people come to our clinic with heart rates all over the place, and we want to image a coronary vessel. We've got to have protocols tuned for those different heart rates. We have different protocols that are tuned for the presence of metal, like say, for example, in an orthopedic surgery patient, before or after surgery, depending on how much metal they have, we have different protocol variations for that. We even have different protocol variations just for how well a patient can position their arm over their head, say for an MSK elbow study. We do all this in order to get the best picture we can for our patients and to have optimized patient-specific care. Okay, so before you leave this presentation thinking all radiology practices do all the things I've been talking about, think again. Most sites use what I call elephant gun protocols. So here's a study, and what they did was they looked at outside studies referred to them. They were a major academic medical center. And one of the conclusions they had was the results of this study suggest that a large proportion of patients undergoing abdominal and pelvic CT scanning receive unindicated additional phases that add substantial excess radiation dose with no associated clinical benefit. So these outside sites had a tiny fraction of the total number of protocols a site like mine has. One might ask, well, how do they get away with that? Well, in many cases, they're going to have a lot of studies that are done that produce more information than is actually indicated. In some cases, they may have images that suffer from image quality issues, like they don't have special large patient protocols, so the images for large patients are more grainy and kind of noisy. So we can make sense of this because if we go back to what I said before, they have this elephant gun protocol. At Wisconsin, We use a similar elephant gun protocol only when needed. If it's a complicated cancer case and we need multiple scan phases, that's when we use multiple scan phases. If it's a bread and butter routine type abdominal study, you almost always just need one scan phase. So sites that don't have lots of protocols usually over image. It's a simpler workflow in some ways, but when they do that, they're giving their patients extra radiation dose. Sometimes they're making their patients stay in the clinic for longer. And they're also producing more images than they need for the radiologist to review, which can open up avenues for liability issues because the rad is responsible for reviewing all of those images. Another issue we face, and this is whether or not a site uses an elephant gun approach or whether they have a truly bespoke approach that we try for at the University of Wisconsin, is that protocols are inherently site-specific. And because they are site-specific, they're going to vary a lot from the protocol used at an institution, say one county over, one state over, in a different country. So here's a Nature Scientific report, and the authors were looking at different image texture features, and what they found was that when sites used uniform protocols, they found a variability between 60 and 50%. That variability was reduced by that amount. That's a huge amount. So when you're talking about things like artificial intelligent workflows that are enhancing the radiologist's interpretation, we know that there's issues when a site's images don't look like the data that those algorithms were trained on. And the protocols themselves are a large source of variation between protocols and images at different sites. So why is reducing variability important? If the AI example is not clear, I think here's a better one. You don't need to be an AI expert to appreciate, I'm showing two different images here of the same patient imaged on the same day, and only a protocol difference is between the left and the right image. And if we zoom in and focus on a small little nodule here in the lung, we can see one protocol clearly had settings allowing for a much easier visualization of this nodule than the other. So if this patient were you, and your radiologist is supposed to use the images to characterize, say, a potentially cancerous nodule, what image would you want? Protocols define the differences in image quality that we can see in this example. And the cloud-based protocol manager solutions, they're allowing us to disseminate the good practices, say, like we see in the image on the right. They allow us to disseminate those protocols to all the sites, say, within our hospital, within our region, or globally. So Yaxi's going to close us out, and I'll let her do that. But there was one word on the following slide that I really liked, and I wanted to just share some thoughts on it. And that she's going to use the word democratize. Now, here at Wisconsin, I'm fortunate to have the resources and time to cultivate good CT protocols in my clinic. But I know that there's sites within my city, state, across the globe that don't. At Wisconsin, we have a principle we call the Wisconsin idea. This idea was summarized by our university president, Van Hise, in 1904, quote, "I shall never be content until the beneficent influence of the university reaches every family of the state." In other words, the good work done at the university must be spread outside of the university. Now, I know I didn't get a chance to get into more tangibles of what a cultivated set of hundreds of protocols look like, but even today within radiology, many people within my field don't know what that looks like because they don't have the time, resources, and expertise to cultivate those protocols themselves. This new tool from GE Healthcare, coupled with the large portfolio of solutions on the Amazon cloud platform, that lets me and other luminary centers like mine realize the Wisconsin idea and share what we do with the world. It was a pleasure speaking with you all today. I'll let Yaxi take it from here.
Thank you so much for Dr. Tim Szczykutowicz to provide an overview on their experience in remote protocol management. As you can see, remote management protocols has been a key focus for many healthcare providers like University of Wisconsin due to its impact on clinical and patient outcomes. Cloud-based tool like Imaging Protocol Manager makes the protocol management process simpler and faster. At GE Healthcare, we choose AWS as cloud provider for Imaging Protocol Manager due to multiple benefits. For example, AWS provides easy-to-use platform. It allows us to quickly and securely host our SaaS application to meet global market needs. With AWS, we took advantage of the scalable and secure computing infrastructure. We can easily scale our application up or down based on the customer demand, such as number of devices in the imaging fleet, number of users, and resource utilization. Overall, with the strong partnership support from GE Healthcare and AWS, our solution is aimed to help the clinicians to deliver the consistent, high-quality imaging services to their organizations for every patient, everywhere, every time. Thank you so much for joining us for this presentation. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions related to remote protocol management. I hope you enjoy your symposium.